Welcome to our second Functional Medicine Coaching Live, Real Talk, Real Transformations. We are so excited to bring you our second live coaching session. I'm Gina, and I'll be coaching Amanda this evening. Amanda is another client that came to us from our casting call in March, and we are so thrilled to welcome her. Also a reminder, next Sunday, Alex and Ray will be back for their second session. Same time, same place, so mark your calendars. Now let's go into our session with Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Gina.
It's so great to see you. I was really looking forward to our session this evening. And how are you feeling at the moment?
Well, I'm very giddy. I'm very smiley, and I'm anxious. I'm excited to get started and see what you took from the notes I sent over, and we'll see how things go. But I'm excited.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I'm feeling a lot of the same feelings as well. So, and I wanted to take the opportunity to, Amanda, to really acknowledge your courage, not only in seeking out health coaching and taking charge of your health, but also your bravery in coming on this live show and the openness, the vulnerability in sharing your story with us. So really thank you for that. And it's much appreciated.
Oh, thank you. I believe in authenticity. So I know I can't do this by myself. I need help. And I'm grateful that it's been offered that I can participate in it.
Well, you've got my support every step of the way.
Good.
Yeah. And I had the pleasure of speaking with you about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation and we covered a few different areas. And one of the core areas we were talking about is the role of a functional medicine health coach, what that entails, how we would work together. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to just ask you if there was anything that I could clarify or if you had any lingering questions that I could answer.
No, I think you're my buddy in this, and I think that you're my cheerleader, which is nice to have. It's hard to be my own cheerleader. So I appreciate that, and I'm grateful for your energy, because even though we're long distance, I'm in Utah, and you're middle states, right?
Yeah, New York City, yeah.
So you're Eastern. Yeah, I know that we've got a good synergy, and I'm glad that you're on my team. It's nice.
Oh, thank you. And I'm glad to be there. I can feel your zest and I love it too. It's contagious. So I'm very curious as to what inspired you. So, really what inspired you to say, I am going to apply as a client for the show?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Enough was enough, I think. I've been beating myself up for long enough, and knowing that I could ask for help, but not knowing how to ask for help, and not being willing to ask for help, feeling like I need to do it myself. Mm-hmm. And I'd been trying it for myself for a long time, but wasn't receiving the answers, the input, the results I wanted. I wasn't. And I've been thinking about the health coaching world for a long time. I participate in health summits just as an avid listener, and I love learning and seeking knowledge and just trying to better myself that way. And so when I found the functional health coaching part with IFM, I was blown away. I was so excited. And then to come to find out that there was this opportunity to have somebody be my health coach, I just said, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. I think that it was just like, now or never, girl. So do it. And it was like Friday night at the 11th hour, and every block that could possibly happen, every technical thing. I couldn't get the video uploaded, and I was, all the times of recording it. And I'm just I get nervous I talk a lot. So I was obviously nervous trying to record my little blurb there, and 90 seconds was not enough time. Several times, but you know what, Gina, at the end, it was like, I'm going to submit it, even if it's 11:50 at night. And if I get chosen, I get chosen. And if I don't, I know I need help. So I need to turn to somebody. And so I was glad that, I got an email. I was so excited. I was so excited. Aww. And it was an answer. It really was an answer. And everything. It was an answer for my family, because they'd seen me suffer, and I wasn't the mom or the the person that I know I have been in the past, and it's just has been a huge answer. So thanks. Thanks for
Oh,
your time. Thanks, coaching.
yeah, it's so wonderful, to hear you say that you were beginning to ask for support.
Yeah.
That it's testament to, applying for this show and saying, hey, that takes a lot of courage to say, I'm looking for support. And I can see, in your face, in your whole spirit, that you've been through a lot and you've been persevering. And so I'm very thankful that you're here, and that you took that step to
Yeah.
get some support. And it's funny because you brought up the casting call video as well, and it was so moving. There were so many, I was reading through it and I had watched it, and it was just the most moving piece. And there was something that stuck with me, and I want to read it to you.
Okay.
You said, when I lost all hope, life got dark. Now I can see some light,
Yeah.
some possibilities. So I want to ask you, Amanda, how did you do that? How did you begin to see some light, some possibilities? And what strengths do you think led the way for you?
Well, I'm a lot more articulate when I have the chance to write things down. So,
Take your time. Take your
um,
time.
so Gina, ask me that again. What took me to that point to see possibilities?
Yeah, just, how were you able to do that? How were you able to see some light and start to see some possibilities? And, what strengths do you think helped you to do that?
Um, Hope.
Oh,
Hope, because if I lost hope, then I knew I was in a really, really, really bad spot. And I knew
oh,
that I know I can be better. I know I can heal myself. I believe that this body God has given me, and this mind and this power that's within us to regenerate ourselves and renew ourselves. I believe it so intently. And I just always hoped that it would be for me. I just kind of
oh,
thought, well, my chance. Well, I kept thinking, what am I not doing to have it
right,
apply to me?
right.
So that possibility of having hope again, and I just had I have a really loving husband, and he is supportive. He's a silent supporter. But when he said that he would record my video, I just knew that he was in my corner, and that even if we didn't get chosen, he knew that I had to put myself out there and to open myself up, which is hard to do. But it might not seem like it's hard to do because we just met last week, and here I am sharing my soul. But I think that showed him that it's now or never.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So hope is really big for me.
thank you. First of all, just take a moment and, take a breath, take a deep breath. And, really, I want to say thank you so much for your honesty and your openness in this moment to share that. And how beautiful that you were able to kind of come out of that darkness, by, really latching on to hope, like grabbing it by the hands and saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull myself out. That's what I'm hearing. And correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, I'm hearing that, no, you want to change. You are seeing things differently and you are grabbing onto hope.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's so moving. And to be able to share in that way, you're coming so far, just being able to do that, just right here, right now.
I, I think allowing myself grace, and to just say, okay, we've had a hard go, and because I got really angry. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not normally happy and giddy like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
got really, really angry, and it was really dark, and it was really scary for a lot of people that were in my world. And I was scared in my world, and I just didn't like it anymore. So I had to find something. I found you.
Oh, Amanda, and it's so wonderful too that you said your husband, you called him your silent supporter, and you said that he filmed you that day when you did this video call, right? So what is that like to have, your husband as your silent supporter, and how did that help you in the process?
Um, yeah, it's nice to know that he's a strength to me. He really is a silent silent supporter. um, but the fact that, in anything, in any relationship, I mean, our marriage we've been married almost 19 years in December, and it's been a strong marriage, but we've had our struggles, and he's never seen me like this, where I just close up. And to be able to open up to him, and I have two daughters, and they were there seeing me, and they kind of just see me normally stuffing my emotions down and just being angry and gritting my teeth and just doing it because I have to do it type of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
this one, it was like, they were there watching, and it was just a really raw experience. It was just really raw, emotional, beautiful love. It was just this love. I just don't understand the love behind his eyes when he was filming me. I think he was a little bit shocked.
Oh,
Um, but when my daughters saw that, they, because I can't do this alone, right? I've been trying to do this alone, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. Alone didn't work, so let's invite everybody into my process. Let's invite daughters, Facebook.
yes.
We'll invite everybody, but he knows that it means a lot to me, so he's going to support me and give me the time, on these sessions to do it, and make sure I follow through. He's going to be my accountable partner too.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It's really, really wonderful to hear. And I'm hearing a few other things that have come up, is that, the love, the connection, that it looks like it's something that, it sounds like it's something that you buried from what you said, and that now part of seeing the light, or some of these connections, renewing them. Does that, is that what I'm hearing?
That rings true. Exactly. That's exactly right. Because it was just like, you don't, just embarrassed when things go wrong, and you don't look the way you did 3 years ago, and you don't feel the
Mm-hmm.
same, and just like, oh, don't look at me, don't touch me, I don't want to talk to you. You're only doing it out of obligation type of thing. But
Right.
it was more of a, no, I truly do love you. I'm here through thick and thin. I'm here through
Yeah.
I want to say fat and thin. It's more than that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
good.
no, it's just, and I can see that. I can see the love just in your face. Your face lights up through the tears, if that makes sense. That I can see how much that means to you, and that, how tough it's been to ask for support. So, there are so many things, it sounds like, that are happening, that you've had a lot going on from what you've shared, in our meeting, and conveyed to me prior to this meeting. And that, I'm so sorry to hear everything that you've been through, Amanda. At the same time, I'm so amazed by how resilient you are. How strong you've been, and how you were aware to say to yourself, you know, I'm losing these connections. I'm not feeling it. This is not right. And you're reaching out, and you do so many steps. So you said you're reaching out to your husband. I think you said you're reaching out to your kids by coming on live here. You're trying to reach out to a community. So I really want to take a moment to let that, just absorb that. It really is tremendous. And, it reminded me of this story I've heard recently. Just hearing you, it brought back this story. May I share a brief story with you?
Yeah, please.
So there's a story that I heard recently of the two wolves. And it's basically a grandfather talking with his grandson. And so the grandfather says, there's two wolves fighting in all of us, right? One is full of things like envy, regret, anger, bitterness. And the other wolf is full of love and compassion and kindness and faith. And so the grandson says, well, which wolf will win? And the grandfather replies, the one you feed.
Yeah.
And it really resonated. So it sounds like you've heard this before. And, my question to you would be, what do you want to feed in your life at the moment? So what do I mean by that? What would nourish you, Amanda, moving forward? What would be nourishing? And what do you find that's depleting you? And, maybe bringing up some challenges in your life. So it would be great to hear your thoughts on that.
So nourishing and then depletions.
Yeah.
Gosh, things that nourish me. Like you said, connections. I love to talk to people. I love to hear their story. I love to hear how they got from where they were to where they are and what their visions are and where they're going. I love to hear that. It makes me happy. It makes me happy for them, and it gives me, again, hope that people aren't always born great, and they aren't always born successful, and they aren't always born, having their path laid out before them, that they kind of weave and wind, and it makes me feel more human, more connected, more like I'm okay that I'm at where I'm at. So I love to do connections. I've struggled, and that's the other thing, that's depletion. I have some strong family problems, and I'm one of 6 kids, and I'm in the middle. I'm number 4, and those relationships deplete me. My family is very successful, and they're very together, I guess you could say. And I kind of always have been. I didn't ever want to be what they were, and so I pushed against the pricks a lot. And those deplete me, and not fulfilling what I want to do too. Like, I love to talk about health and do things outside, and when I'm stuck inside all day at work, that is really depleting. And not being able to feel like I'm a good mom because I'm always at work, those things, that's what I'm feeding the dark wolf.
Okay.
Like, oh, I'm angry that I have to do this, and so hearing somebody else's story saying, I had to work too, and my kids survived, and I had to work too, and we struggled, and had this, and it makes me feel better. I don't know, it makes me feel like there's some empathy and compassion that I can see they gave themselves, and I can give myself. It's hard when I feel like my family just has it all, and I feel like I struggle for a lot of the stuff that I have. I feel like I struggle a lot. So those are hard things to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, thank you for sharing all this. And I do see, that hope is a consistent piece in your life of something that is really, nourishing and, brings you closer to where you want to be. And that something that it sounds like you were saying, that seeing that in others, like where they had challenges and they were able to overcome them to get to where they needed for themselves, that you lit up when you said that. And it made me think of something you shared with me, right? Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, you share it. Keep going.
When you were talking a little bit about in our conversation about a goal of being a health coach. And it reminded me, wow, that's what it's all about, right? Is, supporting somebody, use the words empathy and compassion, and, seeing people move forward rather than looking back, but moving forward. And moving around the struggles to get to where they need to be, and I heard you repeat that. And also connections, saying that, connections, that when you're connected to people, that makes you very happy it seems.
It does. I don't know. I just love it. I don't know how to explain it. I just really I used to do human resources and I loved it because,
Okay.
you get to
Yeah.
talk to people and help them and they're looking for an answer and you seem to have the time and the ability to give them the answer that they need. And maybe they don't need an answer. Maybe they just need your time. And I don't know. I just like that.
Right, right. And something too that you said that really struck me is you talked about, that not everybody is born a leader or not everybody is born successful. And you were leading to it, that there are challenges. And the first thing I thought of was, wow, you're talking about effort and, perseverance really. And it reminded me of that grit mentality that I so much see in you. And I see that strength in you throughout the time that I've known you so far. And that's a really wonderful piece that it's things take effort and you work towards them,
Yeah.
and doors are opening in your life, and so that's amazing.
I have to say that I am learning through all these experiences, right? I hate them. Oh, they're so hard. But I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Take a moment. Let
they're,
yourself feel whatever you're feeling, Amanda.
they're really, really hard. But I can kind of say that since I did the video to be on with you, I've had a shift in thinking, and I've started to learn to ask. And as I learned to ask for help, I'm learning gratitude along the way. And that is such a beautiful lesson. I don't know if I would have learned the gratitude that I'm learning now if I hadn't have been so low and lost so much. We lost our cars and our house, and I lost my health, and I just feel like, gosh, what else can I lose? So losing all of that and being here with you today, I just really have to say I've got a lot of gratitude, but I wouldn't have learned it any other way.
Oh, Amanda, my heart goes out to you right now. And it is really beautiful. I just want to echo what you said, that in the midst of everything you have going on, and you had shared, your move and two different, homes that you're selling at the same time, and a new job, a new environment, so many things happening in your life. And yet you see gratitude.
I
And
do now.
it's and that's fine, right? We all progress in different ways, and like you said, taking this step to seek support brought this to life, right? And that gratitude is coming to you, and that's really how things happen, right? Something triggers us to feel a certain way or to take a certain step, and all of that's coming to light and bringing light right into your life. And so that's something. Would it be fair to say, Amanda, that gratitude would be something that's also nourishing you and will nourish you moving forward?
That is fair to say. Thank you for making that connection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there, I know that when we spoke, and I want to hear more about this from you, but that there were a lot of things that were on your mind, some that you shared right now. And when you did, sort of to prepare for this call, you had put a list out there.
Yeah.
And you had kind of like just a free flow of thinking about things you could use support on, and then kind of housing them in different areas for now that we were just going to kind of look at. So I wanted to ask you, and how was that process for you? And, what did you take from that? Are you seeing any kinds of patterns, or just share with me how that went?
Yeah. Okay, the process, it was exciting at first. I loved the assignment. I loved, I really would do all the work. I love homework because it means that I get to apply and work and ultimately get to where I want to go. but doing it, oh gosh, Gina, it was so hard, because when I put pen to paper, it scared me. I got scared. I got really scared, because it was like a real thing now. I can think of it in my head, but then when I put it on paper and then I share it, it's out there, and then I have to do something about it. And so it was always easier keeping it in my head, because it's in my head and nobody sees it, and I'm pretty good about hiding a lot of stuff, and I've been told I have a nice smile, so I can just smile through it, and you know what I mean? Like I can, but when I wrote it down, the process was really, really hard, because I kept coming up with things of a lot of negative self-talk, and like, see, now if you wouldn't have done that, you wouldn't have been here, and and it just kind of snowballed, and I didn't want to get in that spinning cycle again where I'm stuck and I can't like see the way out. So what I did was I took a piece of paper and I just folded it in thirds, and I just wanted to be as simple as possible, because I tend to put too many limits on myself, and like, well, it has to be this way, and it has to look this way, and I have to have this, and I just said blank piece of paper, folded in thirds, and I just did my columns there. And what I came out with was everything kind of boils back down to how I see things, what my view is, and how my stress load is. And I broke it down to, like stress and visions and communications, but I never followed through on any of it. So it all just piles up into my stress.
Yeah.
So the process was, after I got done and after I sent it off, I was like, oh my gosh, I did that. I did something that was really hard. That seemed easy. The process seemed super easy. Yeah, sure, give me your 3 top things. Great, I got them. But writing them down and dividing them into smaller sections, and then having to look at that before I sent it off. And I kind of was thinking, oh my gosh, in my mind, do I approve of this? But in my mind, I kind of thought, well, what? I really, for a second, longer than a second, thought, what will Gina say? And then I thought, you know what? Gina's going to help me. So Gina's going to say this was good. It was good that I did that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I don't normally cry like this. I'm sorry.
Oh, Amanda, you, like I said, whatever you're feeling, feel free to let it out, to feel that feeling, because that's the only way really we can move forward, is to, and you're being so, I so appreciate, I want to say again, your honesty in sharing this. You could have just come to our session today and said, oh yeah, it was tough. I had these 3 areas, or, I wrote this list and shared it with me. But, you really, you really talked about something that resonated was this simple task, right? But how difficult that is, because that's your life. Like, you're looking at, your story and your struggles, but then also all the beautiful things that have led you here. That's tremendously emotional. That's absolutely, that's tough to work through. And so, part of this whole process, and, kind of talking with you today, is to kind of let that all flow, that by, putting it out there, you come to some realizations. And, you talked about a lot of things that seem to be coming through when you were doing that, was that the stress factors in your life and how you're viewing things. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the shift, I just don't, and again, it's probably super simple, but I just don't know how to go from here, shifting to here. I don't know.
Exactly. No, I hear you. I hear you. And I think part of the process too is that, focusing in on one area and taking it one small step at a time.
Okay.
Small steps can lead to big results and a big impact. And I think, part of this is to just take a step back and, again, allow the emotions, allow the thoughts to come out there, and together, if that works for you, Amanda, together we will co-create, where you want to start from.
Okay.
like what area, would be most beneficial. In this session, this isn't just about, are we going to set a goal or are we not going to set a goal? This is about you and what really is going to be most meaningful for you moving forward. So if I may I share a tool with you?
Yeah. Yeah. I loved the other tool that you gave me, the self-care tool.
Yes.
That was smart. Yeah.
Yes, and we will be looking at that, and especially in the next session. So what I wanted to do is, this is an evolving process. So there is this VIA strength survey. It's this valuable tool that I've used with their clients and have a lot of success with. And it's basically a 15 to 20 minute online survey, and it creates this unique strengths profile. It lists 24 strengths, and it gives you the top 5 strengths as well that are your signature strengths. I like to look at it as the window through which you see the world, right? The lens through which you view the world. And it's really those strengths that are core to you, your essence, that drive actions and behaviors. And there's a lot of research out there that when we live in alignment with our top strengths, it's linked to better health, better well-being. And
Okay.
so I could see you throughout our session, pull strengths, that helped you and refer to things like hope, like gratitude. And so if you'd be willing to complete this before our next session, we could dive into that a little bit more and perhaps see how we can bring, these strengths into some of the goals that we're going to set together.
Okay.
So how does that sound to you?
Oh my gosh, that sounds brilliant. That sounds like it's spot on. That does. That sounds great.
Good. So what I'm going to do in these last couple of minutes together, so what we'll do is I am going to send a link to you with this survey, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, to reflect on after you've done that. And then what we're also going to look at is I'm going to recap, some of the things we talked about today, and kind of dive into that self-care questionnaire. So I looked at that, and I made some notes for myself as well. And if this works for you and you tell me if it doesn't, perhaps next session we could come on board with 2 things: the VIA survey and what those results were, talk about that a little bit, and then perhaps looking at that self-care questionnaire and looking at, you telling me about what you think from that survey, and maybe, an area, step that we can kind of hone in on that will bring the most meaning and impact for you right now. What do you think of that?
I love the words you just used. Most meaning, most impact. Yes. Yes.
Great. So that'll be wonderful then. So then we can really, and I really, please take the time in between this session to, think about what we've talked about today, what you put out there in that list, that questionnaire, and also the survey. And that'll really, hopefully we can really plan out something for you that, again, will make the most impact. And Amanda, is there anything that I can do to support you in terms of doing the survey? Do you want to set up a time that you'll do it, or did it work for you to say, have it to me by this time? What accountability would you like from me?
That did not work for me.
Okay.
That did not work for me. I am a procrastinator at heart, and so I need a hard deadline. So
Okay.
I like, I usually have more free time on Mondays and Fridays, but
Okay.
I want to be held accountable, and it's easier to
Okay.
be right now to be held accountable to you than to me, sadly enough. So I'm working on me, but you're helping me. So if we could do if we could set a
Good.
deadline that I could have this back to you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And
I
thank
need
you.
that.
Thank you for that feedback, because the way that I can only best support you when I know from you. And that was critical information about the accountability piece. So we are going to have our next session 2 weeks from today. So that's going to be, and I'm looking right now, I believe that's May 13th.
Okay.
Let's just pull this up here. So yeah, so it's May 13th, and you said Mondays and Fridays that you have the best time frame that you can do it. So what do you think? Would you prefer to have it done earlier rather than later? So maybe looking at Friday, May 4th, that you can actually take the survey? Or Monday the 7th?
Let's do Monday the 7th. Let's do Monday the 7th, because if we're not meeting on Sunday, then I will dedicate time on definitely Monday and Friday to really think about it, but Sunday to get it done so that I can have it done Sunday to send you by Monday, right?
Whatever is going to work best for you when you have the time. So if you think that you have more time on the Monday, we can do Monday the 7th. Which day do you think you'll have more time to do it?
Monday, May 7th. Let's have that be the deadline.
And what time? You don't have to have it back to me that day, but this is the day you're going to do it, right?
This is the day that I will do it, yes.
So the 7th, and what time frame do you think would work that day? Check in with you.
I can commit, let's see, if we did like, so I'm on Mountain Time, so 6:30 my time.
Okay, so 6:30. 6:30 Mountain.
Yeah.
And then do you want to have that day where you reflect on it, or do you want to give yourself some time that Friday, the 11th, to think about? So I'm going to send you a few questions. Do you want to do everything in one day, or have a follow-up?
I'd like you to send me everything in one day so that I can think about it and get a bigger view before I complete it.
Okay, so May 7th, though, on your end, that's when you'll be doing the survey and answering any questions that
yes, ma'am.
Are there. I got it. Okay. And then would it be helpful then for me to check in with you by email the day before and say, just a reminder?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And anything else I can do, Amanda, that would help with this, that would be supportive?
Just still be encouraging to me.
You got it.
You're gonna see a side of me that's really hard that I just will wait to the very last minute. I know myself. And so I just would love to have an encouraging rah, 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 go, it's okay, you can do this thing.
Oh my gosh, we are very well connected, and I will definitely do that. And what you will get from me, so as we close our session tonight, we're just going to recap for a second. So I'm within the next couple of days, I'm going to recap our session and get those links to you and everything and remind you of what we just set up now. And then Sunday the 6th, I'm going to also send the reminder, and then I'll check in with you after the 7th just to see, how did things go? And does that sound like a plan, Amanda? And in between, maybe send you some quotes.
I was just gonna say that if you could send me some good encouraging quotes, yes, please, because I eat those up. I do. I eat those.
You got it. So we'll have a good flow, Amanda. And I want to tell you, it was a privilege to be able to speak with you this evening. Thank you so much again for your honesty, your openness, your bravery. It really is, as I said before, so much appreciated. And I know it takes a lot of strength to share, thank you. Thank you for that. And I really, really look forward to in 2 weeks to see you again here. All right. So I wish you a lovely next 2 weeks and a lovely rest of your Sunday. Okay.
Thank you.
You take good care, Amanda.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.